Hi salty sailors, welcome to Catamaran Mentor. My name is Peter Rollo and I'm just a family guy sailing around the world on our Leopard 48 catamaran, and I help people search and buy their dream catamarans while doing so. Kind of like a personal shopper for catamarans.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow, we can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out.
So in the next few videos, I'm on the search for the best Leopard 44 on the market. And then I'm going to chuck them on my Leopard 44 best and worst leaderboard. So today, let's look at a 2012 Leopard 44 called Valeria that's heading back to Fort Lauderdale to be sold. This is a very popular layout. And my Leopard 48 that we live on is just a slightly bigger model. Standout features is its front door, and the best thing about that is the cockpit space for having either a sundowner or your breakfast. And the other good thing about that forward cockpit is the airflow from that large front door, just letting the breeze on anchor or when you're sailing just come through and cool you down when you're on a hot tropical climate. The other thing is the helm position on the Leopard 44 is fantastic. It's up and off to the side. It's got a lot of space for 2 or 3 people to hang out there. You can see the coral. It's got a nice canvas enclosure around it and a hard top on top. It's just so nice to sail around the world on a Leopard 44 helm. So it's just generally an all-round great design. And with a Leopard 44, they don't feel too big to be managed by either somebody that's new to sailing or a couple. Probably good for even up to a couple and 1 or 2 children. However, the Leopard 44 is starting to age a bit, so you just need to keep that in mind when you're buying it. And you need, ideally, unless you want to spend a year or 2 in a boatyard bringing one up to date, you need to buy one that's had a good chunk of money already spent on it, like Valeria has. So let's get into the details, and then let's slap it on our leaderboard and have a close look at Leopard 44s. So it's a 2012. It's priced at $449,000. It's a 4-cabin model with 1 cabin converted to storage, and it now has 2 heads instead of 4. Hey, that's fine. I own an owner's version, and I have less storage because I've just got this big downstairs couch area, and all you do is pile it up with spare washing. You know, a 4-cabin one with 1 just converted to a storage area is just fantastic. And this one's got like a workshop storage area as well, which I'll tell you why I really like that a bit later on. So it is 42.58 feet long. It's got a beam of 23.75, a draft of 4 foot, and it displaces 12.62 tons. It's listed by Michelle Ropeza at the Catamaran Brokerage. She is known as a popular and helpful listing brokerage. Its US import duty is paid, but maybe it still needs to have a Florida tax payable on it. That's something we can work out later. It's en route from Puerto Rico to Fort Lauderdale. So its history. It is ex-charter from 22 to 2019. She was in charter, and then the current owner has owned it from 2019. They're saying it's never hurricane damaged, and at this stage there's no reason to suspect otherwise. So it looks like the current owner has got it out of charter and then turned it into a comfortable and safe cruiser with a lot of money spent and a lot of upgrades. The engine hours are 4,600 and 4,800 hours. That's kind of midlife. If the engines were a person, it would be 45 years old. So it's got a generator, which is 4,800 hours, also about midlife. Now to standing rigging. One of the first things when you're assessing a catamaran is, has the standing rigging been changed? And it was done in 2022. So I did mention that the Leopard 44s are starting to age, but it's good to see some of the big expenses to do with aging being taken care of on this listing. She's got 2,000 watts of solar, which is where it starts getting good, and a nice solar arch on the back. She's got 1,200 amp hours of Reliant lithium batteries and 2 inverters. I've actually put 2 inverters in my Leopard 48, A for redundancy, B for lots of power, and C, you can plug in the US or in New Zealand, and you can buy a plant appliances from all around the world, and you can power them on your boat. So if you're going on a circumnavigation, 2 inverters, a 110 and a 220, is a super cool option. The base electric circuit's 110 volt. It's got a near new 2020 high field dinghy and a 20 horsepower Suzuki outboard. I've emailed the broker Michelle to see if it's got an autopilot on it. I would suspect a boat with this much upgrades it would have. It's got a 37 gallon per hour Rainman. That's a good size. It's about that size water maker where it starts feeling house-like to live on board. It's got a newer style Doppler radar, and it's got AIS. One of the questions for the AIS is it a transmitter and a receiver? This is all stuff we can find out. I also didn't see any mention of a downwind sail like a Spinnaker or a Code Zero. And this is where I started to see each listing tells a story. And I started to really feel like this is a fussy owner that's had this hull from 2019 onwards to today, because it's got Starlink on it, which is cool. We love Starlink, but it's also got a 12 volt power and the AC plug-in power for the Starlink. And it was at that point that reading this listing that I started going, well, this is a really fussy owner that is really sorting out this catamaran with all the little bits and pieces. It's also got the hooker dive compressor, and I think it's got a lithium battery with that, which means you can put it in your dinghy and go diving around for 2 people on the hooker compressor, and that's much simpler than scuba diving. And the other great thing is it's good for cleaning your hull, inspecting your props if you got one fouled with a rope, and just generally having some fun in the water. It's also got the electric galley and the lithium upgrade. Great to see that done on a boat. It is tens of thousands of dollars to do the solar, do the lithium batteries, upgrade the wiring, sort out the Victron systems, and bring all that together to make a catamaran feel house-like. And what I mean by house-like is you have a shower once or twice a day. Some people live on these catamarans and they go camping. They go, yeah, my water maker's fine, my power's fine. And I hear even friends of mine have a shower once a week and they live on a big Leopard 48 catamaran. So when I say house-like, that is mean living like you live in a house, because you want to go cruising, not camping. It's also got other cool upgrades, like a Garmin InReach folding props. And there's so much more to say about this listing, but I can't all cover it in. So in summary, I think this is an exceptional Leopard 44 option that's been meticulously maintained and upgraded since it was purchased out of charter. They've done all the hard work for you. And although the boat is aging, the owner is taking care of some of the aging tasks by updating the standing rigging, the rudder bearings. And the workshop is where I started to see, and the spare parts setup indicate a very fussy owner. I don't see that on listings very often. If you come on my Leopard 48, you'll see huge storage areas of parts and shelving all tidied away as well. So you can see it's been loved. And that means this boat is going to be less of a pain in the butt in your first 6 months to 2 years of ownership. She still is aging a bit. You could still have to, we need to inquire more. If you book my personal mentoring services, we can inquire about how much maintenance has been done and the age of the equipment. What you've got to imagine with an aging boat is, even in a house, does your washing machine normally break 7, 8, 9, 10 years onwards? So you imagine all the equipment on a catamaran in a salty environment that's very complicated, that you shake all around. That's why catamarans can be such a pain in the butt to refit. So you've got to be careful of what you expect your first 2 years of ownership is going to look like. I think on this one, it's going to be quite good, but you could still be in for replacement rudders, a new barrier epoxy coat on the hull, and other aging parts and equipment that hasn't been already done. However, this owner has done a good chunk, so it's not going to all pile on your shoulders if you purchase this one. So other upgrades is, it's got the Axiom Pro chart plotter on the helm, and it's got a nice helm enclosure. So there you go, that's a wrap. Here's a very compelling option for a Leopard 44, and let's go and put it on the Leopard 44 leaderboard. So now that we've gone over the details, just before we slap Valeria on our leaderboard, let's tell you how to get my spreadsheet. Now my spreadsheet is going to have, by the end of March, it's going to have 20 catamarans reviewed on my spreadsheet. There's all the information about the catamaran, the equipment it's got on board, and then it's got my pros and cons comments on the side of it. Remember, I'm not a broker. I'm not trying to sell to you. I'm a mentor, I'm an advisor, I'm an educator, I'm a personal shopper. So you get the pros and cons feedback as to the information on that particular catamaran. And I'm adding more catamarans to that spreadsheet each week. And then on that spreadsheet, that'll link off to the Leopard 44s. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go over all the Leopard 44s on the market and have all those comments and all that information on it. And then the next step after that, if you want to book my private mentoring services, is we would really look at the age of the equipment and what's been done to it on a Leopard 44. And that would help me budget out what your first year or two of cruising is going to cost you by what's done to that equipment. Remember, it's like a house. It gets to 7 or 8 years old, everything starts falling to bits. So we've got to look at what the previous owner's done and what hasn't been done, and then what you need to budget for in the future. And that's different than a survey. A survey just looks at, does it work right now? Tick. I anticipate what that catamaran is going to cost for your first year or two if you book my services. So you get all this information on www.catamaranmentor.com. Subscribe to my mail list. I'll send you a link to my spreadsheet, which is all free for a limited time. And now let's go and slap it on the leaderboard. Okay, going over to the leaderboard, I think this is a good option. It's definitely not the worst, is it? It's had a lot of money spent. There is some really cool extras going up. Hey, it's number 1 on the leaderboard. I think it's at least going to be in the top 2 or 3 Leopard 44s. So let's put it in the top. Please like and subscribe to find out where we place the other Leopard 44s. And now it's up to you. What do you think of the Leopard 44? Have you owned one, and have you experienced any major defects that you can share with the community? What sort of catamaran models would you like me to review next? What are you trying to buy? What would you like to live on? Please comment down below. So thanks for watching, folks. Please head over to my website. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode. And even better, we'll see you in your dream catamaran out on the water soon. Bye-bye.